I'm going to put a little paint on it while I'm having a bit of fun sharing a story. So here we go. And let's see, get my green paint out. And what I'm using is something called Aen Art. I guess that's how you pronounce it, Aen Art. It is, I got a whole box down here of various shades. It's a art acrylic. It is very, very thick. It's definitely not a thin. If you're going to use this in an airbrush, you're going to have to thin it about, probably 50-60% minimum. But I don't do airbrush, so I couldn't tell you. But anyway, on to the story. Today I'm going to talk about the time that I was given a choice by Smokey Bear of spending the night in jail with Bubba or spending the night in my truck. This happened in summer of '94. Back then, the speed limit for trucks in the state of Illinois was a grand total of 55 miles an hour, and heaven forbid you should go more. I was running for a company that, well, to say they pushed us is an understatement worthy of the British. To give you an idea, the British would call World War II a bit of a tiff, okay? But at any rate, we would run 2, 3, 4 logbooks. That's a story for another day. And I had been up I'd had maybe 2 hours of sleep in a previous 72-hour period, and oh boy, I was tired. I was stupid tired. Common sense had left the building. And the company I was with, we were running a cab over, what we would call what we called an international bus. And we referred to that because the cab over that we were running, if you ever look them up, had what we called a setback axle. It means that the axle, the front axle, what we call the steer axle, was behind the driver's door instead of the driver's door being on top of it, like you see in most cab over trucks. And so I had this, and it had a Detroit engine in it, what we called the Series 60. It's just another type of engine. Like this is an 8V92. It's just how they designate their engines so that, they have an idea. But anyway, it was one of the first engines, especially one of the first that Detroit had, that had a mechanic or an electronic throttle. Instead of having a direct link from the floor pedal to the throttle to govern your speed, it's like we have more today where you've got a connection of wires, and the pedal doesn't actually control anything mechanical. It controls essentially like a computer switch. But anyway, onward we go. There was a way that we found that we could bypass this happy little governor. And oh boy, again, common sense has left the building, but hey, truckers got to do what a trucker's got to do. What we would do was we would run downhill and up and down the little up, like you run across and wherever you're at, and you got the little ups and downs and hills. And I had been running across Missouri on I-70 and all the little ups and downs, and you get running down the hill and you keep your foot flat on the floor so that your truck's maxed out on throttle, and you push in the clutch, Now you turn the truck off. Reach down, turn the key, you turn the truck off. Okay, you wait until the truck completely settles, completely shuts down. You're now coasting, no power, no chance of any power. Hope that you don't need any power in the next minute or so, because you will have none, because the engine is not running. Yeah, like I said, common sense has left the building. So then, with your keeping your foot on the clutch and your other foot hard on the throttle still, you turn the key back on. And once it starts up and the oil pressure stabilizes and everything's all happy there, you let out the clutch. Well, in doing this, now the engine is overrunning, and you're overrunning the speed governor, and now it thoroughly confuses the computer. The computer has no idea what it's doing. It has no idea what you're doing. All it knows is, I'm freaking out, something's wrong, I quit. And the speed governor is now disabled. You'll get a check engine light on the dashboard telling you, hey, there's something wrong. And you go on with it from there. And but you now have no speed governor. You are now an ungoverned truck. You can run however fast you can run, given however much you want to push it, and the terrain, etc., etc. Now, as I said, I mentioned earlier, Illinois had a grand total of speed limit of 55 crystallized miles an hour. It's 10:30 in the morning. I have, on Central Time, I have a 2 o'clock appointment in Columbus, Ohio, about 400 miles away, at 2 o'clock Eastern Time. I have 2.5 hours to go 400 miles. I'm not making it. I know this. But I'm going to do what trucker got to do, and I'm going to push it. I'm going to get there as soon as I can. Yeah. Well, I'm cruising along. I have pegged the speedometer at 80 miles an hour, and I am getting it. And I am so tired. I'm wobbly. I'm nearly sick. I'm really tired. So I get going. I'm going. I look in the mirror, 30 miles east of St. Louis, a little town called Powhatan. Here comes Smokey Bear. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Well, you're gonna pull over on the side of the road and have a visit, because they really don't like it if you don't. They get a little, for some reason the cops get a little pissy about that. So I pull over, side of the road, cop comes up, and I am so stupid tired that I am not being logical. I am not. I cannot be. I am too tired to be logical. And the cop says, you got any idea how fast you were going? And I said, no, sir. My speedometer pegs out at 80, and I pegged that out about 5 miles ago. Why? And he looked at me with this funny look on his face. He says, I clocked you at 89 miles an hour. And I'm tired. I said I was tired. I was stupid tired. And all I could do was start giggling. And he said, what's so funny? And I said, I got another 300 or 400 RPM left. I got me a large car. And just started laughing. Now, to back up, a large car also is called a rooster cruiser, large car. It is basically one of these big trucks that are out there, and I'm talking big, fancy rigs. The ones that have got all the lights, they got all the chrome, they are good looking trucks. And they're not governed. And they can run out Oh, I don't know, 130, 140 if you actually push it. That's what they're geared for. Most of the guys will never see more than about 80 at any time, and then rarely. They'll run as fast as they want to run. An ungoverned truck will actually get better fuel mileage than one that's governed, and if they let it breathe and don't try to govern the horsepower as well as the speed, an ungoverned truck will get almost double the fuel mileage as a governed truck. And we call these ungoverned big fancy rigs rooster cruisers and large cars. And so I'm giggling at the cop, and I tell him I've got me a large car, and he looks at me and he says, "How much sleep have you had in the last couple of days?" And I said, "On the record or off the record?" And he said, "Off the record, I've got an idea." And I'm like, "Okay, off the record, I think I've had maybe a couple hours in the last 3 days." And he said, "Yeah, you look it. You need some sleep." "Okay, so what are we going to do about it?" And he says, "I'll make you a deal. Go up here to the next exit, this little town called Powhatan, to the little Pocahontas Travel Plaza, where trucks aren't allowed to park at that time. They've since built it up, and you can park a truck in there now, I understand." And he said, "I'll give you a citation for 65 and a 55. It's like an $80 fine." "Okay, that sounds good." And he says, "But you have to spend the night here. If you don't spend the night here, we will stop you. We will find you, because we are going to check on you all night long. And if you leave and you take off, we will find you. And we're not going to just uphold this little 65 and a 55. We're going to throw that out, and we are going to then prosecute you until you're stupid." And I said, "Well, I'm already stupid." And he says, "Here's the trick. Really and truly, as tired as you are and as fast as you are going, I have a very valid case for reckless endangerment, as well as running almost 35 miles an hour over the posted speed limit." He says, most people in cars can go to jail for that today." So he said, "Here's my deal. We go to the next exit. You park. You call your company. Tell them you shut down. If they give you any grief, let them know that we will be checking on you. And if you leave, we will arrest you. We will impound the truck. And that load is going to sit there in our impound lot for the next several days. It's not going to be released. And you're going to jail for reckless endangerment, excessive speed, and whatever other charges we can think of to be sure you're in jail for a while. So, or you can spend the night in the truck, get a good night's sleep, get up tomorrow morning, have breakfast, to take off out of there, have an $80 citation for 65 and a 55, and everybody's happy. And you don't have to spend the night with Bubba." And I said, "I like not spending the night with Bubba." And so he took me up to the next exit and told me if I missed the exit, he was going to come after me and I was going to jail. And I said, "Excuse me." I told him, "I ain't missing that exit. No, sir. No, sir." So we go up to the next exit. He leads me around to where I can park kind of off to the side. And he comes up and he says, "Let's go inside. We're going to have a chat with the owner." Okay. And tells the owner, "This driver is staying here tonight." And the owner cuts him off and says, "Sir, we can't allow trucks to park here overnight." And he says, No, you don't understand. This guy is staying here tonight. This is the closest safe haven, and I'm shutting him down. he was going to bed here shortly. He turned to me and he said, "Aren't you?" And I said, "Yes, sir," after I get me some dinner. And he said, and he's going to stay here until 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, whether you like it or not. The guy says, "Well, we can't have trucks parking here overnight." And he said, "This isn't any truck. This is a guy that has been shut down. He is not going to go anywhere tonight." Okay. So the owner finally agrees, and the cop leaves. I give the company a call on the good old payphone. This is mid-90s, remember? There's no cell phones yet. They're still years away. So I go over and I get payphone, dial the 800 number, talk to dispatch, tell them, "Hey, guess what? Not only am I late, I'm now really late." "Well, why? What's wrong?" I said, "Well, I'm over here in Illinois, and Powhatan, Illinois, and I just got shut down by cops for speeding." "Speeding? How fast are you going?" I said, 89 in Illinois. "How are you able to get the truck to do that?" And I said, "I ain't telling you." So he gets all mad and he says, "Are the cops gone?" And I said, "Yep." He said, "Well, leave. Go. That load's got to get there." It's a load of children's toys. It's the middle of summer. It's not like they need it for Christmas, for criminy sake. So anyway, he tells me I got to leave, and I tell him, "No, sir. If I stay here, I won't go to jail. If I leave, I'm going to jail." Cop gave you a choice between night in the truck or a night in with Bubba. I chose the night in the truck. Plus, the load will get there a whole lot sooner than if they have to impound the truck as well as me. So I'm going out here and I'm going to go to bed. And 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, I will get me some breakfast and I will take off. I'll get there when I get there. And so I wake up the next morning. Cop's actually kind of surprised that I was still there. And so he comes up, bangs on the door. I wake up and I get up. I'm already in the process of getting up. And he looks at me and he says, "Well, you're still here." And I said, "Yes, sir. Told you I'm not dumb enough to turn down the kind of offer you gave me. So I figured the easiest thing to do was me just to stay here." Dispatch didn't like it, and he says, "I bet." But and I said, "So here I am." And he says, "Yeah, here you are. I'm surprised. I'm pleasantly surprised." And so I had a stack of these little tags that they had used, and they had been keeping tabs on me all night long, just like they said. Company tried to get me in trouble when I got back to the yard in Rockwall, Texas, on the east side of Dallas a few days later, and I just dropped those on their desk and said if I had left, they would have found me. The truck would probably still be in jail. So, moral of the story is, don't be stupid on the highway, folks. Get sleep, get your rest. And if you happen to have an interaction with Smokey Bear in whatever capacity, whether it's local or state, don't fight with them. Heaven forbid, don't fight with them, please. They got a hard enough job. Go ahead. If they're going to get a ticket, you're going to get a ticket. That's a given. If you fight with them, things are going to go bad real quick, and it's going to go bad for you, not for them. If try to fight with them, now you got assaulting a police officer, resisting arrest, all this stuff. So, and then you're going to wind up really having a problem. Get pulled over, take the ticket. If you want to fight it, that's what the court date's there for. If you don't want to just pay the ticket and be done with it, take it to court. Don't fight the cops at the stop. It's not their fault. They caught you being stupid. So that's my advice on that. That's today's trucker story. I got some others that are pretty good that involve excessive speed, being stupid. And yeah, the funny part is I have not had a speeding ticket in, oh mercy, almost 20 years now. All of my speeding I did was fairly early on in my trucking life. So, but anyway, that is my trucker story for today. And we are painting this a reasonable facsimile of Detroit green. Got valve covers to go on there, chrome. Got some other pieces to go on that need other painting. Excuse me. So, there we are. Tex signing out.